Hey, Ryan, I'm really early, so don't worry about me.
Great. I mean, and it's always.
Hey, Bruce.
Because we can only see so many
Hey.
people there.
I might have you share first here if we're waiting on Tom Stevenson to present. I don't see him in the meeting yet, so I might have you go right after introductions. Is that all right?
Yeah, there's.
Okay. I will. Because I had her help me pick out like flowers and things like that this weekend, and she seems to like be taking some time. So, and I could learn something from her as well, because my son was a little bit black.
I hear you. I know, my husband is traveling on business all summer. And me and my boys
Mhm.
are, we can take. Oh my gosh, we're going to die.
The pressure.
Yeah, a lot of, in winter I could manage because they're like all inside them together. But in summer, oh my gosh, poor kids like here.
Oh, yes. We just have 2 small seconds we have to worry about, so they're pretty condensed. Oh, she just, when we're actually here, she got a cactus. I go, oh my gosh.
Perfect.
I know I give them, any succulents, I must overwater them.
Because they're pretty easy.
No.
Yeah, I can handle.
Dead. That's my problem. I think everybody needs a drink.
Well, it is a pretty serious climb. Like they always do something.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you have to really tell her to ignore it.
Those plants are perennial.
You have to worry about the deer, so.
Well, that, even though
That helps.
Well, it's 10:01. A pretty light crowd here in Delta County, but it looks like we have 27 participants online right now. Switch over. Can everyone online hear me all right?
Yeah, Ryan, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Vince. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right, well, we're gonna do a quick round of introductions here. But first I wanted to point out some new members that have not been here before. And so Julie Shaw, you are new to SAIL, the Executive Director for Superior Alliance for Independent Living. I'll have you introduce yourself first.
Yes, thank you. So I am Julie Shaw, the Executive Director of Superior Alliance for Independent Living, and with me I have.
I'm Sue Anderson. I also work at SAIL, and I'm the Accessibility Services Coordinator here at SAIL.
So thank you for letting us be a part of your group.
We're glad to have you.
What do you want to do about
And
house?
next I
Jeff is
see,
talking to him.
Okay.
So next I see Bethany.
So-
here from-
Jeff seems like he owns the same thing those do.
Yeah, but to the point thing is just be careful, especially with people like Bill on what is, don't slough off a comment like, like we talked about that one day when the guy made the comment about I can have trailers there. And you just kind of let that comment go. Not that, you know what I mean? But that's what happens then is if somebody says, I said right in front of him,
Hey,
I just
Jordan,
wanted to have,
turn your
I
mic on.
think I can have 2 abandoned vehicles there. And he didn't say I couldn't. That's what happened. So when he comes in and says, oh, I might want to have a petting zoo every once in a while. And if you just kind of go,
Hey, Jordan.
first thing I would do is say, there's an ordinance against livestock. Here it is. You have to work within this.
I guess I just not anticipate.
I know, but then that's what, yeah.
Like some people are just so out of bound, like out of the norm that I'm like, how am I supposed?
Oh, shoot. Hang on. I think I'm on this thing.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry about that. That was
Bethany.
me. I apologize.
No worries. Bethany, would you take it away, please?
Hi there, everybody. This is Bethany Leiter from Highline Community Relations. I'm just here kind of as a silent observer right now. I'm actually with my boss, looks like Bruce Moore is on, and I believe we might have Ben on as well. I'm not sure, he was having trouble with his audio, but I'm just kind of here to listen and see what this meeting is all about. This is my first time here. I know Bruce has been here, I believe, before, but this is my first time. So thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Glad to have you. And welcome back, Emily Leach. I haven't seen you in a while, so happy to have you back too.
Thanks, Ryan.
Do we have,
Happy to be back. Yeah, this is Emily Leach with Marquette County Planning.
thank you. Is there anybody else new here today? Great. Seeing as we don't have anybody else, we'll just do a quick name, your position, and who you're with around the room. So I'll start with Michelle LaJoy.
Good morning, Michelle LaJoy, Executive Director for Community Action, Elder Marquette.
Okay, Christopher.
Sorry, Seuss, was that me? Sorry, I got distracted. Hey everyone, Christopher Germain, most of you know me from MEDC, but starting today, I'm the CEO of Lake Superior Community Partnership. So excited to see you all just in a different role.
Christopher, congratulations.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Ed Legault.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ed Legault. I'm the Executive Director for the Delta County Economic Development Alliance.
Trent.
Trent Bellinger, Delta Schoolcraft ISD Career Technical Education Director.
Trey.
Trey Frechette, Technology Director for Market Alger RISA, as well as the REMT 21 Director.
Ron.
Hi, Ron Miasso, City of Gladstone, Downtown Development Authority and EDC. And Christopher, congratulations on your new position.
Thank you, Ron. John Kangas.
Morning, everyone. John Kangas, Marquette Township Manager.
Donna LaCourte.
Donna LaCourte, Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, Economic Community Development Specialist for the Upper Peninsula.
Vince.
Vince Bevins with the Department of Transportation.
audio trouble. Greg.
Greg Meehan, Marquette Alger Risa Superintendent.
And Lois and Jordan.
Celeste Dickinson Area Economic Development Alliance.
Thank you. Bill. Bill, can you hear us?
I was muted. This is Bill Raymond, UP Michigan Works. Sorry.
Thank you.
Welcome,
No
Chris.
Rich Rossway.
Good morning, Rich Rossway, Upper Peninsula District Liaison for Congressman Jack Bergman.
Have you? Thanks for coming. Julie Carla.
Good morning. Julie Carla. I'm the Employment and Training Coordinator for all UP counties with the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Have you? Brian Cervello.
Morning, everyone. Brian Cervello, Market Alger Risa. I serve as the Career and Technical Education Director.
And Paul.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Paul Oliva. I'm the Recreation Lands Program Manager for the Hiawatha National Forest.
Thanks. Craig Gugini.
Morning, Craig Gugini, City Manager, East Queen.
Steve Gillot.
Sorry about that, having issues coming off of mute and my camera. So Steve Gillot, State of Michigan, Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity. I'm a talent development liaison.
Thank you for coming, Steve.
Absolutely, good to be here.
Lost my spot here. Stacy.
Hi, good morning. Stacy Welling Hoy. I'm the Upper Peninsula Field Deputy for the Department of Natural Resources.
Thank you, Stacy. Next we have Dave O.
Good morning, everyone. David Ola, representing the private sector with Shop House Park. Thank you.
Emily.
Ryan, is that me?
Oh, I'm sorry. I already got you, Emily. I got Emily Suki.
Okay. Hello again, everyone.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emily. I do communications at QPAD.
Dave Nyberg.
Dave Nyberg, Director for Business Engagement and Economic Development here at Northern Michigan University. Good morning, everyone.
Morning. Great to have you, Dave. Karen.
Good morning, everybody. Karen Kovacs, City Manager for the City of Marquette.
Paulette.
Good morning, everyone. Paulette Pertman from Innovate Marquette.
Thanks. Ben Du Bois. Okay, we'll catch up then. Kathy Reynolds.
Good morning. I'm Kathy Reynolds. I'm the CEO, Greater Munising Bay Partnership, Alger County Chamber, and then also the Executive Director of the Munising Downtown Development Authority.
Thank you, Kathy. Nate.
Good morning, Nate Heffron, City Manager for the City of Negaunee.
Jesse Vau.
Hi, Jesse View with the Hannahville Indian Community.
Sorry, I mispronounced that. Good to have you, Jesse. Next, I have Alex Kowski.
Everyone, I'm Alex Kofsky. I'm the Executive Director of Accelerate UP, working with small businesses in Marquette County.
Great, Mary Myers. Thanks, Alex.
Hi, I'm with the Lake Superior Community Partnership. I am just listening in because I'm cleaning out my office, so I probably won't have much to comment on.
Good luck on your move. All right, I think, I forgot in the room. Irina, would you like to go?
Sure. Irina Bruno, I'm the Executive Director of the Boniface Arts Center in Escanaba.
Holly Toma, USDA Rural Development. I cover the Upper Peninsula as a business and industry loan specialist.
Thank you. And I see Joe Teal just joined too.
Good morning, everyone. Joe Teal, CEO of Innovate Marquette Smart Zone, Executive Director of Invent NMU.
Great, thanks.
Hey, Ryan, it's Vince. Was I muted during introductions?
Nope, we got you.
Can you hear me?
Yep,
oh,
sure
okay,
did.
thanks. All right.
Hey, Ryan, this is Vicki Schwab. I'm the Business Development Manager for the Michigan Economic Development Corporation.
Wonderful, thank you, Vicki. All right, so unless I missed anyone in the roll call here, I'm gonna turn it over to Tom Stevenson of Connect Michigan. He's gonna tell us a little bit more about the new BEAD program that came out of the Infrastructure Act and what Connect Michigan is doing with the broadband infrastructure audit. So there's been some updates with this program, and I'm gonna pass it over to you, Tom. And
sure. Can you
like
share the screen?
Absolutely. On 1 second.
See this? Welcome, everybody. Tom Stevenson. I'm the Broadband Solutions Manager for Northern Michigan for the Connect Michigan program. Real quickly, I'm familiar with a lot of faces in the audience today. So the first part of it is I'll just kind of blow through this first part, and I will share this PowerPoint and also a cheat sheet I put together with all the funding and everything. It's kind of easier to follow that than it is to dig through a PowerPoint. So I'll send that to Ryan after the meeting, and then he can send it out to everybody. But basically right now, I'm still the main primary contact for broadband for Northern Michigan. And also we're part of the Connect Michigan program as we're sending up the office of My High. I'll get into that in a minute here. And also we recently, some of the bigger, newer news is that we've also implemented the Michigan Broadband Infrastructure and Audit and Validation Project, basically the mapping project. And I'll get into that in the presentation. We still have the Connecting Michigan Task Force. We've got all the folks here together working through the MEDC. I think they are the host of this. And putting all the different agencies in the state of Michigan working under one as one group, trying to collaborate and focus our energies, all our energies on broadband instead of being several silos. We're trying to work together on this throughout the state. Quickly, the existing data, when we look at the UP, and I'm going to be talking about this today, all the new funding coming out are for areas that are underserved by 100 by 10. If you don't have that level of service, you will now qualify. This is the old map of the Michigan that we have of the underserved. A lot of it's based on FCC data.
I gotta give you sharing, Tom.
What?
You're not sharing your presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it came up. How's that?
Yep.
You see that?
Yep.
Okay. Real quickly, this is the map of Michigan. The underserved areas, the old FCC map, which was not very good based on 9 last year, collected last September. And these are the areas that are in pink, shaded, different various colors. The darker the color, of course, the higher the concentration of population. But these are the areas unserved by 100 by 10. And as I go through all this planning, these are the areas that qualify for funding. The checkered areas are areas that are what they call high cost areas, I would call them. That's where you have one home per square mile or 2 square miles. And so that'll be handled under a different program here in the future. So quickly, this is the areas I'm talking about. But again, this is the old FCC map. And but under my estimation, it's probably at best 80% accurate. So we're seeing a lot of fiber bills throughout we're seeing a lot of fiber bills in Michigan right now. And let's see, I gotta get this out of the way. So we're seeing a lot of fiber bills in Michigan right now. This is the map of the fiber bills. The darker colors you're seeing right here are service levels at gigabit level service. We're seeing in the lighter color areas, lighter brown, or 100 by 10. This is again last year's data, and I expect a lot more being shown on my map as the mapping comes up this new year. We're going to see a lot larger sections of fiber built. I'm estimating about between 100 and 120,000 homes or residents, businesses are seeing access to fiber in rural Michigan, northern Michigan, in my area. And I see that continuing, that trend continuing for at least the next 4 years. Let's see here. This is the blow up the UP again, just showing the UP. Again, you don't see much there, but I think Bruce and Highline in the audience right now, some of the other providers, I think I think we'll be seeing more. As far as the state updates, I gotta get this out of my way. As far as the state updates are concerned, right here, Leo, the office, we're actually hiring the director. We should be hearing pretty soon. The director should be hired for the Office of High-Speed Internet, something the state of Michigan has to do in order to maximize or take full advantage of the BEAD program. Once we hire the executive, then we'll start hiring the top 2 officials. Then we're probably going to see at least 8 staff members to start with. Just as a side note, 32 other states have already had the Office of High-Speed Internet. And from what we're gathering, they're already doubling that staff getting ready for the BEAD. So we're probably going to end up having anywhere from about 12 to 16 staff members when this is all done and said. Right now, we are also going to be working this summer on updating the Michigan Broadband Strategic Plan, which probably be visiting some of the local areas up there, getting the input from community inputs, which will be required for the BEAD program. Next. There we go. So real quickly, this Willie asked talk, the state of Michigan, the legislators, the governor's office, they worked together and they put together the ARPA, the state's ARPA capital fund project. Yeah, about 4.8 billion. Of that, $250 million will be made available for broadband infrastructure. Basically, it's going to be used to deploy minimum of 100 by 20 megabits and scalable to 100 by 100. There will be some areas that will qualify, very remote. It's going to be tough to get that, but basically, this is going to be a fiber build infrastructure for now. From this point on, it's pretty much all going to be fiber. Like I said, there will be some exceptions in the high cost areas where you have to use fixed wireless, but then that'll have to be able to produce 100 by 20. 150 million of this 250 is going to be used for last mile. This project will also make available $887 million to support middle mile projects. Middle mile projects, though, I will say, you will have to be able to justify when you turn in your data to get fiber to a certain area. You can't say, I want fiber from this town to that town because they don't have fiber. You can have to say, this town doesn't have fiber, but we're also going to serve these number of locations and businesses. So you're going to have to be able to prove with a contract for the last mile delivery of this high speed of the fiber. The last 5% of this project will be used to stand up the Office of High Speed Internet. This money will have to be used. Unfortunately, this is the legislator put this together. This current round precludes the use of this money by governments and educational entities. They won't be able to participate unless they're part of a public-private partnership. Again, the money has to be spent by 2026. The validation project, I'm gonna get rid of this somehow. The validation project is for Michigan. It's actually the Connected Nation Engineering Project team actually won the contract. It's through the MEDC is doing this. It's a $5.2 million project to map the infrastructure. This is going to be required for the funding coming up. These little green areas you see on this map I'm showing you right here are areas that currently providers say that they are servicing by 100 by 20. So the idea is to put together, right now we've got 12 teams on the ground. We'll end up with about 16, driving about 65,000 miles. And they will be driving the periphery of this to actually establish where the service is and where it is not. And by driving the edge of these infrastructure, I have some examples in here. We will not be mapping the city of Detroit, Oakland County, some of the areas that are already determined, like Wayne County. We'll be focusing mainly on the rural areas of Michigan. There we go. So as an example of this, this is a piece that we mapped for one of the mapping projects that was done for Alcona County. This is Lincoln down here in the corner. This is a cable provider. The areas in green where the FC provided data to the FCC. And unfortunately, the method of that, if they provide service to one person in a census block, they count the entire census block. The green areas are reported to the FCC as being covered by 100 by 10, all the homes within this area. So we put an engineering team on the ground, we mapped the infrastructure, and we went through this green area. We noticed that the infrastructure that was able to supply 100 by 20 was only located in these areas right here. So under the new mapping project, only the homes that fall within this little green area actually have service, and they would not qualify for funding. All these areas out in this area here in the brown, which were currently left out of any potential for funding, were now eligible for funding. What I did here, and this is basically what the first round of maps are going to look like, but eventually it's going to look like something like this. We've got a few counties right now that the way they collect their 911 data and they turn it into the state, it's going to be questionable. So we've got to resolve that before we can put little dots on the map. But eventually what you're going to see is little blue dots and red dots. The blue dots have services already have services, and the red dots are going to have areas that do not have access to that service, and they will qualify for funding. The people, the engineers that are actually running this project and throughout the state of Michigan, they're quite apt on examining the area because they helped build this, actually built this infrastructure, a lot of this infrastructure in the state of Michigan. So again, they're going to be on the ground. This is going to be required. We have to identify every location unserved and that served and unserved for the BEAD program, but also the FCC is also matching it. And we're afraid that it might not quite be as accurate as during the first round. So we're going to be able to use this data to challenge the FCC. And then again, we're also going to be able to use this data to keep track of where the funding is and who has service and who does not throughout all these different programs that I'm going to be talking about. So it's going to be very important that we get this done. We have to have this done by October. The team is training right now. All teams are training around the southern edge and southern edge of the state. And they'll be breaking loose to the UP here pretty quick and starting on Lake Superior side and working their way south, trying to stay ahead of the snow. They'll be up there here pretty soon. When they come into your county, they will be reaching out to the local sheriff's department and notifying them that they're in the area so that people don't get upset when they see people driving around really slow, looking at the infrastructure alongside the road in their homes. So that's coming up. quick update, the federal RDOF, we have the RDOF program. We still have for the UP Starlink, which has some sections, has several service areas in the UP, receive funding under the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund, is yet to be approved. AEG or Highline, which is on the call today, they were approved a long time ago. So most of it is going on right now. Once the mapping, FCC mapping is done and over with and ready to go, on top of all the other BEAD money that's coming up, there's going to be some RDOF phase 2. And right now it looks to be about 11 billion plus, maybe up to 14 billion. And when that's going to be released, so probably after the BEAD. So it's kind of hard to say when that money is going to be made available in the sectors. This is the RDOF. Most of the areas in red here, that's all AEG or Highline. Few of the brown areas, sorry, I got some construction going on in my house. Some of these brown areas are the areas serviced by Starlink, and they've yet to be approved they've been unable to prove their technology to where they can deliver gigabit level service yet to the FCC. So that's still pending. Again, this is the number of counties, the number of locations. Again, you can see most of this is AEG, which is now Highline. They're receiving the majority of the funding up in the UP. And this is the central UP, the counties in the central QPED area. Under the BEAD program, real quickly, unlike the Michigan, these will be all the eligible entities be able to apply for this broadband funding. State government, schools, political divisions, territories. This is now controlled by Congress, and they are the ones that are setting the pace, not our state legislators. So the only ones ineligible for this one are individuals, legal partnerships formed by individuals, or co-applicants. So the BEAD money for Michigan, for the state, right now there looks to be about $42 billion in infrastructure. And then for middle mile, there'd be about $1 billion available for middle mile. The match for this, match for the BEAD is going to be 25%. For the middle mile, it's going to be roughly, it's going to be 30%. Unlike some of the other past programs, there's going to be a digital equity programs, and we are still waiting for some of the FOIA data on that in the state of Michigan. But basically, we're going to put all this technology out there. We're going to have money to help train people how to use this technology and how to sign up for it. So the BEAD, as I went through this, the NOFA just came out the other day, and we're going through it right now, all 200 pages of it. Came out on the 15th. We're still digging through some of that, but most of it we pretty much recognize. Each state will get a minimum of $100 million if they don't do anything. That's why we had to set up the Office of High-Speed Internet. The state of Michigan, you have to apply for any additional funding beyond the $100 million. So that's why we had to set it up. If the state, basically for the unserved, that's the way that's broken down, there'll be $32 billion for those areas that do not have areas that do not have service at 25 by 3 or 100 by 20 or 100 by 10. Those areas will be given priority before you can build out, use any funding to be built out over and say like a cable system, like a charter or someplace like that. So real quickly, under Governor Snyder, we estimated it cost about $5 billion to build fiber, gigabit level service to rural Michigan. The Board of Education looked at it back in 2020, came up with $6 billion. So we're going to be seeing about $2 billion, a little over $2 billion in funding if we do everything right. Everybody plays nice together in the sandbox, and we're able to put together these packages. So it's going to require a lot of public-private partnerships, a lot of cooperation, a lot of investment, outside investment. So even though it's a lot of money, it's still not enough to cover everything without everybody working together. I think that's my biggest push for this. It's going to require a 25% match for the actual BEAD itself. It's still going to be very competitive. And we're kind of figuring you're going to have about a 30, 40, maybe even a 50% match in some of these programs in order to be able to compete. It's going to be very competitive. Like I said, we need 6 billion or more. That's before the prices went up, and we're only going to see 2. So it's going to be very competitive. Same as for the middle mile. It's $1 billion. It sounds like a lot of money, but those that service providers in the room, those folks, the schools, they understand that $1 billion won't go very far for fiber, especially when you talk across the country. So again, that's going to require a 30% match. Digital equity, that'll probably be my next big talk, is about digital equity. A lot of training programs coming out for libraries, money for libraries, schools, to help people use this technology. Also, some of the other organizations such as United Way, those groups that service and work with the vulnerable populations. Hopefully there'll be some training dollars available, and the state right now has to start. We're just now starting to put together a plan. We have to apply for this money to see how much of this we're going to get. And so that's where we're at with that. Last we talked, I think we talked about this last time I was on the call. We had the emergency broadband benefit program, which gave a $50 a month discount. That was only short term during the pandemic. Now they're calling it the Affordable Connectivity Program, which makes it much more permanent, but it dropped down to roughly $30 a month. But they did open up the qualifications quite a bit for those people that qualify for the funding. So again, right now, Michigan, we estimate about 1.8 million families qualify for this, and right now we only have 412,000 participating. So, in talking to some of the groups, it's quite tedious to help people sign up. So, hopefully, some of the funding coming up is some of that funding is going to be intended to help those organizations sign these families up. For example, the schools, you have a lot of children on the federal lunch program that can't quite afford, and maybe be able to have hire somebody to help sign those folks up so their children have access to broadband at home to do their homework and schoolwork. So the other thing is broadband labels. It's going to be kind of like your food labels anymore, and be able to display a little bit more information about the service plans. And quickly, we are starting to see some communities work together under public-private partnership. Some of the ARPA funds, Leelanau County was one of them. Down here, they worked a deal out with Chatterland Electric Co-op, and also Wolverine Power and Point Broadband. And so county's going to throw in $5 million of theirs. And that contract, I believe, has already been signed. Should have been signed this last week. So to get this done, that's bringing service to about 10,000 residents, roughly over 5,000 who do not have service at all. So we're starting to see a lot of things happening with the ARPA money and also these public-private partnerships. So I'll stop sharing and answer any questions real quick.
Thank you very much, Tom. Something interesting I learned with that affordable connectivity program is that schools could be on the, I think, community eligibility program. It's called CEP. So if a certain portion of those students in that school district are on free or reduced lunch, I think it's 40% or more, then the whole district qualifies. So potentially if a school district or a school building is on that CEP program, every student in that school qualifies for this program, and it's quite easy to apply for it.
Oh, wow.
It's just a drop down one matter of selecting your school.
Good. Yes. Yeah. The problem when talking to some of these folks, I know I talked to Trey about this on here recently when I was up there, and it's just getting somebody out there and getting the staff to help get these people signed up and go jump through the hoops to get them to qualify and sign up for the services. So hopefully that's some of the funding, and that's, I think, intention of some of this funding is to close that gap, to take full advantage of it. So that's kind of a novel, and that's something the service provider's been asking for a long time, by the way, is to help with the adoption rate and some of the programs that would help with that. So.
Great, anybody else? We have our municipal leaders or school leaders on a chirp in.
Now, somebody had a question here about the 150 million for the 250 total. I think it's Emily Leach. 100 of that 250 million, 150 would be used for last mile connections or homes of residents. So that's the. I hope that answers your question. It's all part of the 250, but right. So.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? If not, I'll pass it over to Bruce. You have something related to share with us.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Really excited to be on this call today and give everybody an update. So everything that Tom is talking about is really exciting for the state of Michigan, but we feel particularly exciting for the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Just as a summary, I mean, Highline is a part of the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund, is obligated to build fiber to the home to 40,622 households. You may or may not know, but we've started in 2021, and we are actively now in our construction season. We have over 200 customers that are now enjoying a 1 gigabit by 1 gigabit symmetrical fiber to the home internet service in Delta County. And it's truly gratifying to be able to provide that level of connectivity to households that have been truly unserved and left behind. So we feel like Highline is going to be the operator, the ISP, that actually takes everything that Tom was talking about and continues to advance our project in the Upper Peninsula. We are going to be very, very aggressive in pursuing these grant dollars to serve many more households than the 40,600 that we're obligated to serve. By the end of this year in 2020, Highline will serve over 10,000 households in the Upper Peninsula. It's important to note that we're also going to finish our project downstate in the Thumb. So in 2023 and beyond, we can commit to all of our resources being dedicated to the Upper Peninsula to accelerate getting the fiber to the home service, to throughout our entire, as Tom saw, our project is end to end, north to south in the UP. So we're very excited about that. I mean, today in the state of Michigan, I mean, we have in the UP, we have 15 construction crews in progress right now. 10 of those crews are dedicated to the Upper Peninsula. Really proud to say that we're also using Northern Utility, and Upper Peninsula based fiber contractor, is our primary subcontractor working for us in the Upper Peninsula. So we're glad to keep that money home and not bring in out of state contractors to do a predominant amount of our work in the UP. So we're really excited about that. We will have customers in Delta County, Menominee County, and Dickinson County in 2022. So it's real. We're serving customers. And we really can't wait to accelerate our project to serve, more counties in the Upper Peninsula. We're very blessed to be in a position. Tom talked about the matching. We're very blessed to have an investment group behind us that has the wherewithal to match these future funding areas. And the other thing that we feel like in the Upper Peninsula particularly is we're not going to be reinventing the wheel in terms of this grant money, because we make decisions every day to serve households that are outside of the RDOF census block areas. And so we can just simply extend our fiber to where we're already going to build and serve many more households. A particular note, I think we've just been very impressed with the support that we've received from the Upper Peninsula County Road Commissions. Have been very helpful in terms of permitting and getting us, on the road right away to construct our project. So we just couldn't be more excited about our business plan in 2022. And then, we will hopefully have our 2023 and 2024 plans announced here in the next 30 days is my goal. And so, just really excited to be the company that's actually making it happen. And really, our project is so unique with the 40,000 plus households in the UP. We're very excited to bring this type of service to, a lot more than we were awarded. And I would just note that, the funding that we received is about 75% of what we need to finish the project in the UP. And so again, our private investment company has, dedicated the resources for us to support our project. So we're off the ground, we're running, we're providing service, fiber to the home service with the 1 gig up and down, and really excited about the update of where we're at today. I take any questions.
Hey, Bruce, with the RDOF 2 possibly coming out, and I know you said you're expanding outside the RDOF areas. Is there anything that the schools or any of the other public entities here on the call that can provide additional data for you that can expand out to additional homes that that may have fallen through the cracks in the bad mapping that the FCC has portrayed?
Absolutely. I mean, certainly we support the project that Connect Michigan has underway. We look forward to the future mapping, because I think in the new world order where 25x3 connectivity is now defined as unserved, will open up a lot more households. We have already created a letter of support that we're going to be sending out, and it's really a letter of support from the community supporting Highline's grant application. We really feel like Highline will be the best use of future grant money because, again, extending our existing network out. And so we will be reaching out and asking anybody on the call who would be interested in, signing a letter of support, on your letterhead, because we do feel like public-private partnerships and community support will score very high on these future grant applications. So whether it's the $250 million that the state has out, or maybe the up to $1 billion as a part of the federal BEAD money, and or future RDOF 2 grants. I mean, we feel like Highline is perfectly positioned to bring fiber to the home to more houses. So the specific answer would be if we could get letters of support for our grant, and we're not asking for exclusives. I mean, I guess communities can, cast a wide net. We feel like though Highline has a great opportunity to win a lot of this future grant money to extend our network out in every county in the Upper Peninsula that we're going to be serving.
Yeah, I want to emphasize something, Trey. Yeah, when we looked at especially with the NOFA and the state funding, it's going to be very important that there's the applications are basically a public-private partnership. The providers, most of them are going to be applying, but they have to show a relationship and a need with the local community and have it documented. So, if you have 2 or 3 meetings with that provider, that all should be documented when you turn that in. So that's going to be very important moving forward. So that there's a high level of cooperation amongst the provider and the community when they go after this funding. So, yeah, and the 250, it starts this fall. Hopefully we'll make that available as early as December 1st for applications. Then the BEAD money, I kind of left it out of the presentation. We're hoping that the first round of BEAD is going to be ready by 2024. And then we're estimating it's going to have to be broke up into 2 pieces. So we're looking at three consecutive years of significant funding available. And again, that public-private partnership, that cooperation documented is going to be very important. So yeah, those working with Bruce and his company is going to be very important. I can't emphasize that enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? All right. Seeing as there's none, thank you very much, gentlemen. And Bruce, I would be happy to send out that letter of support to the group in our post-meeting email here.
That'd be terrific. Thank you very much. And if anybody, I think Ryan has my email address. I'm happy to present Highline's current status and projected plans at any, whether it's in person or Zoom. I'm happy to meet with anybody that's on the call that is looking to help bring fiber to the home to your community. Happy to do it.
Great, thank you. All right, we're switching over to our next presenter. He is, I'm looking through the list and he's not here quite yet. I think he's just signing on right now. But in the meantime, would anybody want to share an update? Is there anything of relevance that we can talk about to kind of fit the in between here?
Hey Ryan, I'm just gonna have to excuse myself. I gotta run out to a meeting. So I appreciate the opportunity to present today, and I look forward to talking to people. Thank you.
Certainly, no problem, and thank you. Right, here's our guest, Kyle Miller from Placer.ai, and he's going to show us some really fascinating geospatial technology that, well, I'll let him share more about it. So, Kyle, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
We have control too, so you're able to share.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll share my screen here shortly. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate the introduction. My name is Kyle Miller. I'm an account executive over here at Placer. I appreciate you all having me on today. I know, Ryan, you mentioned we have about 30 minutes. Does that still work? I just want to be respectful of everyone's time.
Yes, we do.
Perfect. Awesome. So here's what I'll do. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen shortly, but I'll give you guys a quick introduction on who Placer is, the who we are, what we do, and how we do it. Then we'll actually spend about 15 to 20 minutes in the platform, and I'll show you, how other civic organizations are utilizing us. Then I'll save some time at the end. We can answer any questions and, identify some next steps. So what I'll go ahead and do, I'll share my screen. And if you don't mind, let me know when you can see a map of the United States. It should show pictured rocks here.
Yeah.
Perfect. So this is our Explore view, and it's the perfect place to start out to kind of dive in and learn more about any location within the country. Before I do that, I'll give you a quick overview on Placer. So we're a location analytics company that leverages mobile location data in order to provide market intel on any physical location in the country. So we're able to do this by harnessing data from millions of mobile devices, and then we anonymously aggregate that in order to learn about a place. So think of, a retailer, a shopping center, a neighborhood, a city, a park, a field, or even any road, street, or highway. So not only can we tell you how many people visited that particular place, but we can also fill you in on, where they live, where they work, where else they like to go, the tourism patterns in the area, the entire visitor journey. We're a relatively younger company, so we were founded in 2013, and our founders took about 4 years perfecting our data, the panel size before they ended up launching commercially in about 2017. And because of that, because they took their time, we are a leader in the space. So we just crossed 1,300 active customers and just raised our Series C funding of $100 million. We kind of got our footprint in the CRE space to start out. So we're working with JLL, CBRE, Cushman & Wakefield, SRS, REITs such as Macerich and Kimco. And then over time, the retailers wanted to get their hands on the data. So we're working with Target, Best Buy, Dollar General, Burlington Coat Factory. I mean, the list really does go on and on. We're active in the CPG space, financial services, airport, restaurant, and our fastest growing sector as of now is civic organizations. So we're currently working with over 200 cities and counties across the United States. And that ranges from, business improvement districts, cities, counties, DMOs, honestly, you name it, and they're all leveraging our near real-time insights. We're adding roughly 20 new clients per week. Of that, about 3 to 5 of those are civic customers, all coming on board with very little churn. And that's not meant to brag to you guys whatsoever. It's just to paint a better picture of, who Placer is and who's come on board since we launched. And so with all that being said, like I mentioned, this is our Explore view. So this essentially works like a Google search bar. You can type in any city address anywhere within the country, and we'll have data on that. I spoke with Ryan, and he mentioned looking up this Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. So what I'll go ahead and do is I'll open this report. And what you'll notice right off the bat is it pulls in a local comparable. So it's pulling in a heritage landing, and I'm guessing that's going to be some sort of lake or park, but it's our machine learning way of coming up with the most similar property to the one we selected. And it takes into account the type of property, number of visits, customer demographics, things of that nature. If you don't agree with it, it's not a problem at all. We can go ahead and remove that. And you can actually add up to 6 others. So we can get a total of 8 competing properties or locations at any given time. Next, I'll point to our time frame here. And as you can see, it's defaulting to the last 6 months, but we have the ability to do any custom date range. So we have data spanning as far back as January 1st of 2017 and data as recent as, 3 days ago. So this past Saturday. So about a 3-day lag time in the data, but every single day you log in, there is going to be some new information in there for you to go ahead and play around with. I'll click on the last 12 months maybe, just so we can see kind of how this data turns. But this is our first feature of our platform. This is our metrics feature, and really our bread and butter and where we get the term foot traffic data from. I'll point to our panel visits here at the bottom. So this is our ground truth data and what we know to be true. So this 11.2 thousand, these are the number of mobile devices that Placer has analyzed that have entered this Pictured Rocks at least once within the past year. From there, we're able to extrapolate that and apply it to the entire US population. So here we have an estimated number of unique visitors of about 406,000, and we can get a total number of overall visits of about 556,000, which equates to roughly 1.3 visits per visitor. Again, this is all within the past year. Next, we have visit trends. So this is going to show some seasonality trends, and we're able to look at this on a daily, weekly, or monthly frequency. I'll go ahead and toggle off our local comparable just so we can focus on Pictured Rocks. But as you can see, we can understand some of these trends within the given year. We have a massive spike here on, looks like Saturday, August 7th. Maybe it was nice weather. From a retailer perspective, if we have a marketing campaign that was ran, we can understand, if it was effective or not. If we have a new tenant that moves into a center, whatever it might be, we can log in at any specific date range and understand some of those seasonality trends. If we have a city and we have an event that's ran, we can see if that event was successful or not based on this foot traffic. So next we have our trade area. This is a heat map showing the home locations of where people live that visited Pictured Rocks within the given year, red being the most and blue being the least. So I can zoom out here and we can kind of see where we're getting a pull from nationally. Obviously a ton in the Midwest here. And these are only people that visited one time within the given year. If we wanted to see, who are most loyal visitors, we can toggle this to, say 3. And we'll see this heat map shrinks pretty dramatically. So these are people that aren't just, passing by the area in the given year. These are people that have come multiple times throughout the year. And we can zoom in and kind of get an understanding of where they're coming from. I'll open up our GIS tool. And I do want to point out just real quick, we're not only able to see where these people live, we can also see where they work. And any of the information is downloadable on the fly in the following ways. So image, Excel, shape, KMZ, PDF, if you're working with Esri or really any other mapping software, we can overlay it with them extremely easily. And we can download any of the information I provide you with today, on the fly. So this is our lightweight GIS tool, and this is our dot density view. So these dots represent the actual home locations of visitors who came to either Pictured Rocks represented in this bluish purple, or a local comparable heritage landing represented in red. We can get an understanding of, cannibalization in the area. So from a retail recruitment perspective, if we're trying to bring in a Target, for example, we can pull in the nearest Target in the area and see if we were to open up in any given location, how much overlap would there be between visitors? Or, is there a void in the market indicating that it'd be a great fit for, that specific retailer? This can also be useful from, a digital ad placement, overlaying this with Facebook, for example, is what a lot of our clients are doing to understand how they're spending the marketing dollars and making sure they're spending it in the right places, and just also understanding, what percent of pull from our visitors are coming nationally or exact states. I'll show you, we can get down to an exact zip code level, which I'll show you here shortly. So here's our trade area tab. This is what we just went over in the previous section. Here's our trade area coverage by distance. So this is going to show how far our visitors are traveling before coming to our given location. So this is indicating that we have a pretty big tourist destination. So we have about 10% of visitors traveling under 100 miles and about 65% traveling over 250 miles within the given year. Obviously, these are still visitors who only came once. We can toggle on this and see how far local residents are traveling, for example. I'll go ahead and touch on our visitor demographics here. So what we're able to do is we can provide an extensive breakdown as far as demographics are concerned. So as you can see here, here's a bar graph that's showing the average household income of all of our visitors. Again, this is all going to be within this time frame. We can also break down ethnicity of all of our visitors if we wanted to. And lastly, we can look at top zip codes. So I know I just kind of touched on this, but we're able to get down all the way to a zip code level as far as where exactly our visitors are coming from. Looks like number one is Marquette, but we have about 10 pages worth of information. So even our out-of-state visitors, we can understand where they come from and we can target them and market them going forward for events or whatever it might be. Next, we can look at visitor journey. So since we're analyzing these mobile devices 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we can get a much better understanding of the shopping trends in the given area. So this is a spider chart that's showing the top prior and post locations of people that came to Pictured Rocks within the last year. Obviously, this is only demonstrating the top 5, but if we scroll down here, we have about 6 pages worth of information in terms of where our visitors coming directly before and after coming to Pictured Rocks. We also have the ability to look at, brand affinity in the given area. So of our visitors that came here, let's look and see, where did they go to eat? Where did they do their dining? Looks like about 75.5% of them went to a McDonald's nationwide. So that's showing the brand affinity among all of our visitors. We can look at in the given area though. So let's say in the area, where did they go to eat? We can look and see that about 15% of them went to Dog Patch Restaurant 19.2 miles away. About 9% of them went to the Navigator Restaurant 19.3 miles away. So here we can understand, some shopping trends in the area. Just as a quick example, we were working with the city of Southern Illinois. They had a vacancy on their main street and they wanted to bring in a fast food restaurant. And they swore it was supposed to be McDonald's and then McDonald's would be the top performing chain in the area. But actually what we found when we logged in was that about 40% of the visitors that were going to that location and eating fast food in the area were traveling 15 miles out of the city to the nearest Chick-fil-A. So they kind of pivoted from McDonald's. They pitched this data to Chick-fil-A, who ended up moving in, and now Chick-fil-A is one of the top performing fast food chains in that region. I want to point out it's not just applicable to dining. We can look at, apparel, grocery, fitness, electronic, hotel, the list goes on and on. We can get pretty granular as far as where exactly people are traveling in a given area. Jump back into our overview and our scroll down. So this is our visitor journey route. So like I mentioned at the beginning, we're not only able to provide information on any physical location, we actually have the ability to study any road, street, or highway. So that's exactly what you're looking at here. These are the most commonly traveled roads before coming to Pictured Rocks. So red being the most and blue being the least. We can also look at the roads taken when leaving if we wanted to. And we can actually drop a virtual pin as well. So we have the ability to study any developed or undeveloped piece of land and get a better understanding of any traffic patterns around that particular area as well. Next, we have hourly visits. So this is, what time of day are visitors coming to our location. Looks like we have peak hours right around 2 p.m. mid-afternoon. Daily visits as well. So they're the most popular days of the week of visitors coming to any given location. And then also length of stay. So how long are visitors staying when coming to, our location. So coming to the end here, I do want to show you our Placer Extra. So this is a self-service portal that we recently launched that allows our clients to kind of log in and get an understanding. If there was a question that they couldn't quite answer in our original UI, we've launched this so they can answer any questions. So these are customizable reports. Obviously, these are going to be driven by the demand of our current clients. But if we log down or scroll down, you can see we have about 10 to 20 of these reports For example, all you'd have to do, you can click in. So if you were a client, you can click it on trip origination by market, for example, and this is where you can understand where exactly are visitors traveling from. So all you have to do is you type in an address, type in a date range, and we'd have that ready to go within a week. So this can be useful, obviously understanding tourism, which I'll touch on here, but the idea here is, clients can log in and access any of these customizable reports for any location they'd like on the fly, and we'll have that ready to go for them in about, 4 days on average. I'll show you a couple of these reports just as an example. So this one was run for the city of Wells, who's a client of ours, and they wanted to kind of get a breakdown of, tourists versus local in their given area. So what we were able to do, we saw that about 31% of their tourists came from Massachusetts. We were able to look at any growth within the past couple of years too, especially with COVID, understanding, do we still have tourists coming? How are we recovering since COVID? Things of that nature. We were able to do that for them. Looked at a demographic breakdown of, again, the difference between their local and tourists. And then that brand affinity, like I talked about. So where do the local residents like to go eat, for example, compared to where their tourists like to go? So that was just a quick example that was run for them. And again, we could run this for you for any location within the country you'd like. Another one from a retail recruitment. We did this for Staples Plaza, who is attracting a Trader Joe's. So obviously for a city, we would be, different, but similar, just to give you an idea. So what we were able to do is log into any given area, and we looked at grocery stores in the area to see how they were performing. We looked at cannibalization. So for this particular example, we looked at all the Trader Joe's in the area and saw, if we were to open one here, how much cannibalization would there be? And for this particular example, we saw that there wouldn't be much at all. How does Staples Plaza perform as a center? Would it be attractive to Trader Joe's? Here's that brand affinity that we touched on. So, of the visitors going to Staples Plaza, 15% were already traveling to a Trader Joe's, and there wasn't one particularly close, which was a good sign for them. And then a demographic fit. So essentially, how do demographics of visitors to Staples Plaza, how are they compared to visitors who shop at Trader Joe's? Would it be a good fit for both of those? So these are two reports that were ran by our customer success team for these individual clients. And speaking of customer success, every single client that comes on board with us is assigned a named customer success representative. So, this isn't a 1-800 number. This is a named individual dedicated to your account. We don't want to just throw data on the table and, give you the keys to this car and say, good luck with everything. We'll talk to you in a year when your renewal's up. So for that reason, every single client that comes on board with us does get this named representative, whether it's, any questions with the platform, needing help with retail recruitment, understanding a tourism breakdown, really anything you need along the way, they're there for you to meet, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, however often you'd like to meet. So in my opinion, it is one of the most powerful features of our platform, and a massive reason why we have a 98% renewal rate among our existing client base. So I know that was a lot of information thrown at you guys. I do want to just make sure you're aware, we also have a void analysis report that's ran for shopping centers. We have rankings, so you can rank any retailer on a local, state, or national level. We have area analysis to understand development and vehicle traffic in the area, and we have an extensive demographic breakdown. I didn't want to take too much of your time today, so I did just want to, leave there. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them now, and I'll provide Ryan with my contact information. So if anyone's interested, feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to schedule a call where we can walk through any specific use cases for you guys and walk through a full demo specific to something you guys are working on.
Hey, Kyle, this is Kathy Reynolds, and I'm from Munising. So,
hi.
Hey, so I'm quite familiar with data when it comes to Picture Rocks National Lakeshore. So, got some questions. Thanks for using us as an example.
Yeah, of course.
So I had noticed, and I know that probably when it was set up, it probably was, weather permitting and things like that, as far as, or maybe addresses, maybe you're not there physically. So the address that I'd used for Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore was the headquarters. Most people don't go to the headquarters. Most people kind of like Hiawatha National Forest, the Porkies, anything like that. They're all throughout the park. So we had about 1.4 million visitors last year. So, down at park headquarters, yeah, you're going to get some down at Sandpoint Beach. Yeah, you get some probably around possibly around that number. Maybe one of the questions is how can that be a little more accurate? Because, for example, it says on there 3% went to Pittsford Rock Cruises. Well, you know, I mean, we have about, like I said, like 1.4 million last year. The cruises themselves did over 200,000 passengers, right?
Okay.
And if only 3%, like it said in the data, had gone out of 400,000 or 500,000, it would not give a clear indication as to what that was. I also noticed that some of the restaurants, for example, said about 20 miles from Sandpoint Road, which are only about 1.5 miles from Sandpoint Road. I don't know if that where it was tagged out was maybe out at Miners Cap, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to figure out how, I think the data is great and it gives you great demographic, but how does a person say, if they're going to be utilizing this, get more specific, I guess, to pull their things? Because right now, somebody look up Pitcher Rocks National Lakeshore, those, you know, I mean, if you went to mps.gov, you're going to see that those numbers are way different than mps.gov when it shares their data out there that people follow and business people follow when they're doing their business plans and all that type of thing too. See where I'm going?
Yeah. So I'll kind of touch on this and hopefully this answers your question. And if not, please let me know. But essentially, here's kind of what we did to go about it. So Ryan had sent to look at this national lakeshore, obviously. And so basically I had my support go in and index it based off this address. So this blue geofence that you see here, this is where we're pulling our data from. And obviously you're able to go in and draw any geofence around any particular area if you'd like, or if you're a client of ours, you can have our support. And this is where you could work with your customer success rep. So say we wanted to include, you know, some of this area. This is something where you just type in an address and we could pull that data on the fly. But basically this blue geofence you see here, this is for the sake of today where we're getting all of these numbers from. So anyone that entered this blue area within the past year and stayed for at least 7 minutes, that's what we're including as a visitor. So, you know, anyone that came right around here won't be included. Anyone in the water won't be included. They have to come within this area and stay for at least 7 minutes to be included as a visitor. And so from there, that's where we're getting all of these numbers here.
So would it be pinging, because those numbers aren't close to what we got as far as visitors and regards to whether it's the cruises or whatever it may be. So if there's no cell service in an area, do things ping like they're supposed to out there? Because I mean, like I said, I mean, this data would give dramatically different data than what the businesses have as far as like whether it's you get cruises data, or whether it's the government's data, whether it's the campground data, all that type of thing, you know.
Yeah, and it's a great question. So we don't actually need cell service. So basically what we've done is we're analyzing over 31 million mobile devices in the country, which is about 8 to 10% of that entire population. And we've partnered with over 500 mobile apps that all require location services to be turned on 24/7. And then from there, through that panel device, so that's from our panel visits here, these are what are included in our 31 million mobile devices. We're able to extrapolate that and apply it to the entire US population with a degree of accuracy of about 93 to 98%. And so that's back tested by JLL, CBRE, Target, Best Buy. Every client that comes on board with us actually goes through a data validation test to ensure they're comfortable with our data and everything we have. So, you know, for this particular example, we could obviously schedule a call and I can have my support hop on the call and we can walk through what we have here compared to what you have and kind of understand, you know, what we're missing the mark on, who's more accurate and things of that nature, and walk you through the
not even so much for my accuracy personally, the government's accuracy and the Park Service probably across the United States or Hiawatha, whoever it may be. Their data, because that would mean their data was you know, way off. And I can say for a fact that the cruises, you know, their ticket, you know, what they get for passenger list and pretty much any attraction, which is way more than some of the numbers that were shown. So I just don't know how, you know, if there's a way accuracy on.
So we are 93 to 98%. I'm guessing maybe what we're missing the mark on is where we're pulling from. So maybe, you know, they're pulling from a little bit larger area, which would, you know, make up for that difference in numbers.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, no, of course, great question.
Hey, Kyle, this is Bill Raymond. I'm the Workforce Development Director for the UP. I'm just have questions about how people sign up for this. What's your target audience for signing up? Is it, cities, townships, counties, that type of thing? Can it be broken down? Do you have memberships for individual businesses or chambers of commerce or things like that? Just give me just a quick overview of kind of your membership tier and what kind of cost might be involved with that. Because I really like this application. I own a small business, so I'd like to use it for that. But
no, of course, I can give you a quick breakdown. And just so you know, we're working with, obviously the JLLs in massive cities, city of Aurora, city of Seattle, but we're also working with much, much smaller companies. So we're working with 1 to 2 man brokerage shop, cities with populations of 5,000. So it kind of goes, we run the whole 9 yards when it comes to size of company. So size isn't an issue at all. But to give you a breakdown of, how we package things, we do only sell it in one way, which makes things really easy. So it's an annual agreement, a 12-month commitment. And with that, you do get a couple of things. So you get unlimited user access. So as many people within your organization will have access to Placer. We'll never limit on the amount of licenses or seats. You get unlimited data within the country. So as many searches, queries, reports as you need, as many, you can go in and we have this create POI tool. You can draw a geofence around any area and have data spin up within seconds. You're never going to run out of data that you can look at in the platform. You get those advanced and custom reports that I touched on here. So these Placer extra reports, essentially, if there's something that you can't quite answer in the dashboard, chances are we can create it for you as that custom report. And then that customer success team, which is what I touched on at the end. So that assign individual to your account, that white glove consultant, essentially. So all 4 of those things are included in an annual subscription cost. And so we don't do bucket pricing. We kind of assess each individual client's size of company, use, need, and then we kind of give pricing from there. It would just be a quick, 5 to 10 minute conversation to learn more about your business, to give you that accurate idea of price. So if you're interested, like I said, I'll give Ryan my information. Please reach out and we can always schedule a quick 5-minute call just so I can understand, and then we can quote you and kind of go from there and work with you to get you on board.
I imagine there's more information on your website.
Yeah, of course. So we do have a free version available online as well. It is, a little bit more limited as far as, the data is concerned, how far back you can go, some of the customizable. We don't want to give you, everything. But there is a free version online where you're able to log in and kind of play around with it for sure.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Kyle, we had a question in the chat about the applicability to schools.
Perfect. Yeah, sorry, I just saw that. So yeah, there's a couple different ways we can go about it. And are you saying to learn about schools in the area, or to use this, are you like for education purposes?
Greg, did you want to answer that? I guess I would just say generally.
Yeah, I guess from a general perspective, you can understand, how an area is performing, for example. So we can look at plan development in the area. We can see, is there apartments currently under construction or in the planning stage? Are people, planning on moving into this given area? We can look at crime as well. So for any given area, we can look at crime within any time frame to understand how safe, or probably more importantly, how unsafe an area might be for a school in particular. We can look at demographics in the area, just understand an extensive breakdown. We can look at age, gender, ethnicity, average household income, things of that nature. Just getting a really better understanding of an exact area. A lot of these things you might have a gut feel on, and you might know the area extremely well, but now this is concrete data to kind of back that up, as far as, who exactly are our visitors, who are our students, where are they going in the area, how safe the area is, and things of that nature, if that kind of answers your question.
Kyle, just to add, I can add on to a little bit. So Kyle, for that kind of data that you're talking about for planning from developments and demographics, where is the data set for arriving from for that? Is that can an entity upload their own data, or is it coming from just only census? Just trying to get a feel for that.
Yeah, of course. And that's a great question. So there's a couple different parts. So first I'll show you this marketplace. This is kind of our demographic data. So we do overlay our trade area with census data, but we've also partnered with all of these data set providers. So AGS, Niche, Experian, Spatial AI, STI. So we partner with them to kind of get some more information as far as demographics and psychographic information is concerned. For plan development, we're actually partnered with BCI and Plan Grocery, who are giving us that data. We also have vehicle traffic counts from a company called INRIX. And so they collect GPS data from cars to learn about traffic patterns around any given area. And then as far as our crime is concerned, we've partnered with police firms and other validated sources to understand crime in a given area. So we've partnered with a ton of different providers to kind of overlay our information with theirs.
Does anyone else have questions? All right, I have one last one here, and that's, do any of your clients ever tell you about, like writing grants and grant applications using your data to be successful in that?
100%, 100%. We have multiple clients that solely came on board for the purposes of grants.
Okay, unless anybody else has any last questions. Thank you, Kyle. I really appreciate all of this. I think this has a lot of applicability to a lot of things we touch here, particularly economic development, but tourism and events and all of these things. I think it could have a lot of value for it. So I'd encourage anybody, if they're interested, to reach out to Kyle here, and I'll make sure to share his information.
Yeah, thank you guys. Really appreciate it. And yeah, please reach out. I'm happy to walk through as many of these calls as you guys want. Happy to provide value to your organization and show as many people within your organization as it takes. So happy to make it as specific and relevant to anything you guys are working on.
Great, thank you.
Awesome.
Good
Thank
day,
you
Kyle.
guys. Have a great day.
All right, and we are on to around the room updates. Does anybody have any updates that they would like to share? Anything of regional relevance? Okay, going once, going twice, going 3 times. All right. Well, I'm gonna give you guys back the rest of your day here. I got about 10 minutes I can give you. So thank you all for tuning in and watching our demonstrations here, and hope you all have a good week, and we'll see you around next time.
Thanks, Ryan. Good presentation.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ryan.
So did you say when the next meeting is, Ryan? I know you'll send something out.